Hello everyone. In this particular video we would be going over mechanism of labor. This is a very important question in both theory and as well as the practicals. So let's go each of the stages one by one and we would be getting into the details. So mechanism of labor definition. So mechanism of labor refers to the series of coordinated passive movements meaning not active, passive, they just happen. The fetal passive movements the fetal head undergoes, so it is the movements of the fetal head as it navigates through the maternal pelvis during the childbirth. These movements are necessary to adapt the fetal head to the dimensions of birth canal. So the fetal head should pass nicely through the birth canal. So these movements help in achieving that. So something similar you might have noticed in the previous molding. Even over there it helps in this process. Coming to principal movement. So these are the headings and we would be going under each of with each of them under with a lot more details. Mechanism of labor involves 7 cardinal movements. First one is engagement, next one is descent, next one is flexion, next one internal rotation, crowning and extension, restitution, external rotation and expulsion. So before we go into the details, we'll look at the image. Moment of labor, mechanism of. So here you can see how it looks like. So this is before engagement, and this one is the first step, the engagement, and then the flexion of fetal head. Then the next one is further descent, so descent, and then there's internal rotation, then complete rotation and passing further into through the canal. Then there is beginning of extension, like everything is spontaneous, continuously that is happening, descent, internal rotation, then slowly extension. Then there is restitution, which is completely coming back to the original position, then delivery of the anterior shoulder and delivery of the posterior shoulder. So these are the pictures which give an overview of the mechanism. So there are a lot of pictures like this on Google, so you might find it helpful to take a look. Coming to the first one, engagement. Engagement occurs when the biparietal diameter of the fetal head, which is 9.5 centimeters. So biparietal diameter. Let's look at this image. So I understand that we need to take a look. We need to have some images over there, so we'll see how we can do that. So biparietal, between the two parietal eminences. So this is the parietal eminence, occiput and sinciput, like backward, forwards, and these are the lateral sides. So this is the biparietal, which is 9.5 centimeters. So here they are mentioned. So engagement occurs when the biparietal diameter of the fetal head passes through the pelvic inlet. So the pelvic inlet of the pelvis. In normal labor, the head usually enters the pelvic brim in occipitolateral position through the transverse diameter. So first we'll look at each and every term. So first one is occipitolateral position. So here you can see. So this is right occipito. This is occipito posterior. Occipitolateral. So occiput in the lateral position, if you can imagine it, the back of the head should be in the lateral position. Do we have something over here? No, anyways, leave it. So occipitolateral position through the transverse diameter, at least that we have something, transverse diameter of the pelvis. So this is the transverse diameter and this is the diameter, and with respect to this it is the occiput, which is lateral. So occiput, so this is the diameter, and if it is right or left based on that. So if the occiput is on the right side of the transfer diameter is right occipitolateral. If it is the left side, then it is the left occipitolateral. So that is what is happening. Normally the head usually enters, so that is entering the pelvic brim in this occipitolateral position through the transfer diameter. You have understood the statement. The sagittal suture may be aligned with the transverse diameter. Even this is understandable. So this is the head like this over here, and this is the backward to forward. So occiput is here, sinciput is here, and this is the sagittal suture. Sagittal meaning like this in the middle. So sagittal suture may be aligned with transverse diameter or slightly deflected. So it is not perfect, resulting in asynclitism. So we have new set of terms: synclitism, asynclitism. So these form a 3 marker mostly. Yeah, sagittal suture aligns with the transverse diameter. Makes sense. Synclitism is like proper symmetry. But in case of deflection, like sagittal suture deviates, leading to anterior synclitism, asynclitism, posterior asynclitism. Anterior parietal bone leads. In this case, posterior parietal bone leads. So let's go over here. What's the meaning of this? So asynclitism, we know what it is. Treating of this thing. Normally the sagittal suture should be equidistant from the maternal pubic symphysis and this thing. Anterior synclitism, the anterior parietal closer to the pubic symphysis is the leading part. So if we have an image, so let's see over here, anterior asynclitism. So yeah, so anterior asynclitism here you can see. So let's using this, what is it? Yeah, anterior parietal bone which is closer to the pubic symphysis. The one that is closer to the pubic symphysis, that one is the leading one. This one is the leading one. So here you can see this one is the leading, meaning the first one, anterior asynclitism. Understand? Next one, this is posterior asynclitism, wherein the posterior parietal. So this is not the one that is away, closer to the sacrum, which means the one that is away from the pubic symphysis. The sagittal suture shifts anteriorly. So the sagittal suture shifts anteriorly. So here it is like this. Here it shifts anteriorly, and the posterior parietal bone is the one that is leading over here. Hope it is understandable. So we are done with synclitism. What it means? Synclitism, asynclitism. Advantages: helps the fetal head navigate the pelvis by presenting smaller diameters sequentially, aiding the engagement. So with this we have, it's like a normal mechanism. We already know it is passive. It is passive in nature. So whatever gives least resistance, that is the one which is being followed. So in this particular case, that is the one which is aiding the engagement. So smaller diameter equals less of resistance. Let's see if the mic is on. Yes. Yeah. So advantages of asynclitism: help the fetal head navigates the pelvis by presenting smaller diameter sequentially, aiding the, yeah, this one is I think I read it. Yeah, mild asynclitism is common, while severe asynclitism may indicate cephalopelvic disproportion. So already mentioned, it is the resistance that we are trying to counter by using the smaller diameters. But severe asynclitism, meaning it is like way out of proportion, like it's not properly sagittal suture aligning with transverse diameters. In that case, what comes to your mind? It's like it is not cephalopelvic. So the head of the fetus and the pelvis are not in proportion, meaning they are not working together for proper delivery. So that is what it means. So this is, we are done with synclitism, what it means and all that. So with this you can write an answer on synclitism and asynclitism too, a small answer though. Descent, you can read up more on this, and you can answer much larger answer, like a 5 mark in case it comes up. Yeah, descent refers to the downward movement of the fetal head through the birth canal. Makes sense. It begins before the labor in multiparous women and during labor in primigravida. So labor meaning the contractions. So what are the factors that lead to the descent? So uterine contractions and retraction, bearing down efforts by the mother, straightening of the fetal body after the rupture of membranes. So all of these three things aid in the descent meaning proper sliding down. It should go right properly, very nicely. So it is continuous, like proper nicely, unless obstructed. So there is some obstruction. It intensifies the second stage of labor, which means what is the second stage of labor? It is during that stage only the fetus is delivered properly. So in case there is no obstruction, the second stage of labor is much shorter in duration, but in case there is more of this thing obstruction, the delay is much longer. Coming to flexion reduces the presenting diameter of the fetal head from occipitofrontal. Let's see how it looks like, occipitofrontal to suboccipitobregmatic. So we already know what suboccipitobregmatic means. Occipito to bregma, you know, right? It is 9.5 cm. Occipitofrontal, what is it? So bregma is somewhere here, but frontal is somewhere here. We'll look at it once. Occipitofrontal diameter. So occipitofrontal. So probably this is the one. This is a biparietal. Occipitofrontal. Suboccipitobregmatic, yes, we know what it is, 1. So 1. So this one is 9.5. Most likely it should be 3. Yeah, occipitofrontal. You can see how long this is. Occiput and the frontal bone. Like 3. This one, look at this, how long it is compared to this. This one is much shorter, right? So this one is 9.5. This one is 11. Yeah, right? 11. Yeah, 11. See. So the flexion helps in that. Meaning you can imagine doing this makes this one the presenting part, presenting diameter. Which one? The suboccipitobregmatic rather than this. In case of this, occipitofrontal is the presenting diameter. Mechanism of flexion. So how does that happen? Flexion occurs due to the resistance from the cervix. Yes, it's a passive process. So head is getting, so the passive flexion of the head from the cervix, pelvic floor and bony pelvis. So these are the obstructive material. As the head meets the resistance, the chin tucks towards the chest like this, minimizing the presenting diameter. So we have seen this, what this is. Next, coming to two-arm lever theory. The occipital bone, short arm, encounters resistance first, leading to flexion, while the frontal bone, long arm, moves freely. So it's like a lever as you all know how it looks like. Lever, not that lever. Yeah, in this case the lever. So the long arm is the occipital one, right? No, that's the short arm. The short arm. So it is like, where did it go? Yeah. So it's something like, so whenever you do something like this, in case you place something on the short arm, the longer arm, it leverages whatever force is being applied. So in this particular case, the short arm, which is the occipital bone, whenever it encounters the resistance first, the flexion is the direct proportion of the leverage that is being obtained by this particular action of resistance. So the leverage obtained over here is, where is it used? So in case of stock market and all that, we hear about leverages, this, that and all that, right? So leverage meaning something extra that you get. So in this particular case, the resistance that you get, it is the force, the extra force that you get is leveraged in flexion of the frontal bone, which is the long arm. Do you understand? Yes, you do. Next, coming to internal flexion. Internal flexion aligns the occiput anteriorly. So we want the occiput to come in the anterior position towards the maternal maternal pubic symphysis, ensuring the widest diameter of the fetal head, fitting the widest diameter of the pelvis. So rotation. So rotation, what we want is internal rotation. We'll look at it. Internal rotation of fetal head. Like I think, like as I type this, you get more time to actually imagine trying to come up something new in your head. Hopefully it works out in that way. So this is what we want, the occiput aligning with the pubic symphysis. So that is after the flexion, right? After the flexion we want this one. So one thing is, the widest diameter of the fetal head should align with the widest diameter of the pubis. So that is one of the things. Another thing which is also important is this occiput, when it touches the pubic symphysis, it slips in more easily. So that is another thing. So degree of rotation, so it's just not rotation, like it can't just be like this, it should be a proper rotation. What, by how much, the quantity we also is quantity is also more it is important. So degree. Occipital lateral position, so occiput comes, if it is in occipital lateral position, so we already know what occipital lateral is, we know, right? Transverse diameter aligning with the sagittal suture, rotates by 2/8 of a circle. So this is the degree of this thing. So this is too much of maths, I'm not going to, I just want to know it is 2/8 of a circle. Oblique anterior position, so oblique anterior meaning oblique we, you know, right, not straight, but in the anterior aspect. Oblique anterior position, oblique anterior position of fetus. So yeah, I doubt that's not the lie. Anyways, leave it. Yeah, so oblique anterior position in this particular case, just need to know this one, it is the rotation by 1/8 of the circle. Oblique anterior position. Occipital lateral, for this one to become posterior, occiput to turn to the pubic symphysis, like both of them to be together, we want 2/8 in this case. Oblique anterior position, in that particular we need 1/8 of a circle. Theory explaining the internal rotation. Pelvic floor resistance, the levator ani muscle guides the occiput forwards. So occiput is guided forwards by levator ani, so which is pelvic floor resistance. Pelvic shape, the curved shape encourages anterior rotation. So this is another theory. Last one is law of unequal flexibility, differential flexibility of the fetal parts aid rotation. So these are the theories. We are not researchers like in obstetrics. In case that was the case, we would have gone in more detail, like even personally I wouldn't delve into what each of this mean. They may have all research backed evidence, but currently we are reading for the exam. So just knowing the name should be enough in my opinion. Yeah, next coming to crowning and extension. Let me read the names at least again. Pelvic floor resistance theory, that is one. Pelvic floor being the resistant thing. Pelvic shape, that is another thing. Next one is law of unequal flexibility. Coming to crowning and extension. Crowning occurs when the biparietal diameter, we already know this is the biparietal diameter of the fetal head, stretches the vulval outlet without receding between the contraction. So it stretches the vulval outlet. We know what the vulva is, like over there the female genitalia, one of those parts, so just coming out of the birth canal. So it stretches the vulval outlet without receding between the contraction, it doesn't go inside. So that is what it means. Extension, the fetal head extends as it passes through it is in flexion, don't forget that, it's still in flexion. So now as it passes on the pubic symphysis, the vertex, brow and the face emerge in succession. So the vertex, brow and face emerge in succession. So that is extension. So we have already seen how it looks like in the first image. So where is it? I should have searched that itself. Anyways, no need. Extension in mechanism of labor. Yeah, so the last second I guess, this one, see, it is extending, it was in flexed position, now it's extending, that's what it means. Next one, couple of forces theory. So there is another theory which might explain this, the downward force of the uterine contractions and upward resistance from the pelvic floor. So uterine contraction want the baby out, but the pelvic floor neutralizes it. So what pelvic floor muscles were the, like during the during the entire pregnancy, pelvic floor muscles, they were like keeping the baby inside, like very much nicely packed in. But in this particular case, they are preventing by applying more of resistance on the upward side to neutralize the pushing head outward. Restitution, this is the final one, is the passive visible rotation of the head after the delivery to realign with the shoulders. So what was it? So visible rotation of the head. So head was turned internally, now it is back to its original thing. So to realign with the shoulders. So only the head was turning. Remember that, right? The internal rotation was only for the head. but now it is coming back to its original position to align with the shoulders, realign with the shoulders. The head rotates by 1/8 of a circle opposite to the direction of internal rotation. Now finally, external rotation and expulsion. External rotation, the head rotates externally as the shoulders align in the AP diameter of the pelvis. Now even the shoulders are aligning with the AP diameter like properly, so that they come out. So head rotates externally. So this is restitution, that is external rotation. So let's look at this once before. So difference between both. So restitution and external rotation, so definitely passive rotation fetal head after delivered to align with the shoulders, further rotation of the fetal head and the shoulders to align with the AP diameter of the pelvis. Yes, this one is further rotation, that is the key, due to the natural untwisting of the neck after this thing, due to the rotation of the shoulder inside the maternal pelvis. So this is what we are looking at. 1/8 of the circle opposite direction of internal rotation. Another 1/8 of the circle as the shoulders align for delivery, which is the AP diameter. Next one, only the head realigns, both the head and shoulder realign. Occurs immediately after the head delivery, occurs before the shoulders are delivered, not just realigned. Here it is proper getting ready for expulsion, so that everything is aligned properly. So we have understood the difference between restitution and external rotation. And finally expulsion, the anterior shoulder slips under the pubic symphysis first, followed by the posterior shoulder and then the rest of the body, completing the delivery. So these were the steps in normal labor. We'll look at the names again. Engagement, yes, we know what that is. Next one, descent, yes, we know, like as it passes through down, it's like very smooth. Flexion of the head, internal rotation of the head, and there are two ways, occipitolateral and oblique anterior position in those two conditions. And then there is crowning and internal rotation, that one, crowning and extension. Crowning we know, extension, restitution, back to the external rotation, this thing which is untwisting. External rotation, furthermore untwisting, meaning external rotation to align with the shoulders, which are also rotating. Next one, expulsion of the shoulders and the trunk. So this one was the final step. So with this we end the discussion on the mechanism of labor, which was very interesting. In case you found it interesting, please do consider subscribing, and in case you have any doubts or anything, you can write it somewhere. You already know where to go. It's either the YouTube comments or the Instagram DMs. And again, in case you find any mistakes, please don't forget to message me on the Instagram page of this particular channel. I'll make sure to add you as the editor. Okay then, bye bye.